Have you ever thought about how sometimes thousands of people try to sell the exact same thing, but no one wants to buy it? Then suddenly, that same product, same price, same everything, just with a different seller pops up, and before you know it, people start lining up to buy it. So what's really going on here? Is there some kind of magic wand involved, or is it all just a trick played on people's minds? Like a secret agent who's figured out a mystery most people haven't even come close to understanding. In today's video, we're going to talk about that very mystery, the technique that, if you learn it, will make selling stuff way easier. Selling won't get any easier. Instead, you'll learn how to win people's hearts, earn their trust, and get them to say yes. This isn't just any ordinary sales book, friends. It's a guide to truly understanding people, connecting with them, and making a lasting impact, which can change your life. Because honestly, everyone's selling something in this world. Some sell stuff, some sell ideas, and others are just trying to prove themselves. So if you want to know how to sell anything to anyone, then make sure you watch this video till the very end, because today you're going to learn the real art of selling anything. And hey, if you like inspirational and educational videos that can make your life better, then subscribe to our channel, Motivafusion, and hit the bell icon so you get notified as soon as a new video drops. Join us on this journey. Now, let's get started with Chapter 1. The true meaning of a seller. Have you ever noticed that there are basically two kinds of people around us? One kind works hard day and night trying to sell something, but it's like no one listens to them. Their voices just vanish into thin air. Then there are the others who don't shout or argue much, but just by being there make people believe, yeah, this is exactly what I need. So where does this difference really lie? Is it just about having a sweet tongue, or is there some deeper understanding behind it that you don't see on the surface? Honestly, we all have the wrong idea about selling. We think selling means tricking someone, pressuring them, or just pushing our own agenda. The thing is often just shoved into their hands. But in reality, the opposite is true. Selling isn't about forcing anything on anyone. It's about spotting the gap in their life, understanding their pain, and offering a genuine solution. Selling is about creating desire. A real salesman always knows that no one really likes to buy, but nobody can stand being sold to. And that's the fine line that separates a good salesman from a bad one. A good salesman never pushes hard. They first listen carefully, truly understand, and then present the thing. Always keep something that can catch the eye of the person in front. Because when someone feels that their words are truly being valued, they say yes from the deepest part of their heart, without overthinking or arguing. The first and strongest rule of selling is that people don't buy products, they buy trust. When someone buys something from you, they trust you more than the product itself. They don't trust your sweet words, they trust your genuine intentions. So the person who mixes honesty into every word has that magic in their voice. What really touches the heart is this. We often make the mistake of bragging endlessly about our own stuff, but customers don't really care about how awesome your product is. They just want to know how it can ease their daily struggles, how it can make their life a little simpler. That's where the real secret of selling lies. Instead of thinking about what you're offering, think about what the other person is actually looking for. A successful salesperson isn't the one who sells the most products, but the one who meets the little needs of the most people. Because when you understand someone's pain, when you fulfill their needs, they don't just become your customer, they turn into your biggest cheerleader. They naturally start talking about you to their family and friends. That's because you didn't just sell them something, you brought real joy into their life. Remember, everyone has a hidden yes inside them. But that yes only comes out when they feel the person in front of them is trustworthy. And trust doesn't just happen, it's built by genuinely listening with a sincere heart. Here's a simple example. When a kid wants a new toy or bike from their parents, they don't just try to sell it, they simply express their small wish, building an emotional connection. And this emotional connection is the strongest foundation for selling. Because people don't make decisions based on logic, they respond to what their heart feels. And when someone feels that you're not just trying to make money, but genuinely care about them, it's not just a deal anymore. That's when a solid relationship is built. This is the real meaning of selling, friends. Deeply understanding someone's needs and then sincerely and empathetically offering the solution they're looking for. Everyday life changes because of it. It's a bond that starts with money, but lasts through trust. But here's the big question. If selling isn't about force or pressure, then what is it that sets top salespeople apart from the rest? How do some people close deals just by being there, without doing much talking? Is this skill something you can learn, or is it just natural? The answer is in the next chapter. That's where we'll talk about the art of understanding people, the real beginning of selling. Chapter 2. The Art of Understanding People.
Have you ever noticed that sometimes a complete stranger feels so close within just a few minutes that you end up sharing your whole life story with them? And other times there are people you've known for years who still can't reach the deepest part of your heart. Why does that happen? Because understanding someone isn't child's play. It's like the roots of a tree that hold everything together. Every person carries a little world inside them, made up of their thoughts, hopes, and hidden fears. If you learn how to unlock the door to that world with the right key, then anyone can become close to you. It could be anyone, whether it's a customer, a friend, or a complete stranger. Most people just try to outtalk others, but a real salesman knows the real power lies in listening. Because when you genuinely listen to someone, they feel like their voice matters. And that's where the first seed of trust is planted. The biggest secret in selling is that people don't buy stuff, they buy feelings. No one buys a drill. They buy the piece that comes from making the perfect hole in the wall to make their family happy. No one buys a perfume. They buy the scent.
People don't just buy stuff. They buy the hope hidden in those pages that gives wings to their dreams. Behind every purchase, there's an emotional reason. So if you want to sell something to someone, don't just think about how great your product is. Instead, think about what the person wants to feel. Do they want to achieve something new and feel proud? Are they afraid of losing something? Or do they just want to feel valued in someone else's eyes? Because every person is driven by just three things: the desire for gain, the fear of loss, and the need to belong. You want it to happen. If you can show them that your solution will benefit them or save them from some problem, they'll come to you on their own. A true salesman knows that selling isn't a one-sided lecture, it's a conversation. The other person's feelings guide your approach. You can't really convince someone unless you genuinely understand how they feel. So don't just think of every customer as a number or a target. See them as a real person. Put yourself in their shoes and ask, if I were in their position, would this thing make a difference in my life? If there really was a difference, then why? And if not, then why? This kind of thinking will make everything you say sparkle like magic, because there's no pretense in your words, just the sparkle of truth. People can spot the truth from a mile away, no matter how clever you try to be. Have you ever noticed some salesmen in small shops who make you laugh while they talk, like they're your old friends? It's not like some others whose words just make you want to run away. The difference is just the vibe of one thing. The vibe that connects through the heart spreads. The one that's only after the deal pushes. And people always pick up on the vibe. It's not about hearing the words people say, but catching their silence, reading the slight lines on their face, uncovering the hidden story behind their eyes. Because not everyone says what they're really thinking. But if you can feel those unspoken words, you'll know whether they'll say yes or no before they even say it. And that's the moment when an ordinary salesman turns into a magician. He reads the heart, knows when to talk, when to stay quiet, when to ask questions, and when to just, you've got to keep things light with a smile. Sometimes a smile says more than 100 words. Now, just imagine if understanding people was such a deep science. What would be the perfect way to build trust? How do people instantly see you as trustworthy? And what are those little habits that make you come across as genuinely authentic? Because before you sell anything, you have to sell yourself first, through your attitude, your honesty, your energy. So in the next chapter, we'll reveal the secret every successful salesperson knows. Trust makes you a master. Because the most valuable thing in the world is trust. And if someone knows how to earn it, selling to them becomes a piece of cake. Chapter 3. Building Trust. Ever thought about this? When someone steps into a store for the first time, they don't first look at the product. They actually check out the salesperson's face, their tone, the way they speak, the honesty in their eyes. Because in reality, we don't buy things, we buy trust. Trust is something that builds up slowly, but can shatter in a second. And that's why every successful salesman first learns to build trust, then they sell. Let me tell you an old story. There was a small businessman who ran a little watch shop in one corner of the city. He never raised his voice or argued with customers, just a calm face and polite behavior. Often people would come, look at the expensive watches, and say, "Brother, please lower the price a bit, I'll take it." He would just smile and say, "If you feel this watch isn't worth that price to you, then I'm not worthy of giving it to you either."
Slowly, that shop became the most trustworthy store in the city. People came from far away and said, "That guy doesn't lie ever." That's the magic of trust. Because when you speak honestly from the heart, the person in front of you senses your intention before they even hear your words. They see it in their eyes. People might forget what you said, but they never forget how you made them feel. Trust is built on 3 things: authenticity, where what you say matches what you do; consistency, where you're the same every single time, not different today and another tomorrow; and empathy, understanding the other person's situation and learning how to talk to them, not just seeing them as a client. People often think trust is built on big promises, but really it's the little things that hold a relationship together, like listening without interrupting, not ignoring someone's feelings, or simply saying, "Yeah, I get how you're feeling." Trust isn't a transaction, it's a feeling of warmth. And that feeling comes when a customer believes that this person isn't just after a sale, but actually cares about their well-being. Imagine if a doctor gave you medicine that's truly for your good, even if it tastes bitter. Or if someone gives you advice that shapes your future, or a friend says something that eases your pain, wouldn't you trust them? A salesman truly shines when he doesn't just see the customer as a buyer, but treats them like a real person. When he says, "If you're not ready to buy this product right now, no rush. I'm here whenever you need me." That one sentence sticks with you forever because you didn't feel pressured, you felt respected. Remember, the best way to build trust is by being consistent. If you
A guy came and said, "Dad, write on the board that by buying this pencil, you're helping me with my studies." The kid did just that, and within minutes, all the pencils were sold out. The product was the same. The price was the same. The only difference was how it was presented. That's the power of presentation. When you're selling something, you're not just giving information, you're creating a whole experience. Your way of speaking, tone of voice, facial expressions, hand gestures, all of it screams, "I believe in this myself." Because if your eyes don't have that sparkle, customers will feel your energy before they hear your words. Sure, someone once asked Steve Jobs why his products were so popular. Was it because he was a great salesman or because he truly believed in them? He smiled lightly and said, "I don't sell anything. I just share what I put my whole heart into." That's the difference between a regular salesman and an inspiring presenter. A presentation isn't just about talking, it's the art of storytelling. When you tell a story, you paint a picture in the customer's mind. And when something starts to come alive in their imagination, half the deal is already done. So always start your presentation with a story, mix in some emotion in the middle, and end with passion. People don't connect through logic, they connect through feelings. But remember, a presentation doesn't come from the outside, it comes from within. If you're not truly convinced about your product, no script or argument can make you seem genuine. People see with their eyes and read your heart, quickly sensing whether you're being real or just acting. The second most important part of a presentation is body language. Have you ever noticed that when someone is confident, their walk, their posture, their smile, everything shows it? He shouts that he's ready, but he doesn't need to say much because just being there is enough. When a salesman stands in front of a customer, before he even speaks, his vibe sells. People might feel hesitant around you, and if they sense you're confused, they'll back off. But if your tone is confident, your words warm, and your eyes honest, half the deal is already won. If you feel like what I'm saying is striking a chord inside you, at least give a like so I know you're on this journey too. Often a presentation shouldn't be just a show-off. It's about presenting your purpose, not yourself. It's not about selling, but about helping. The true power of a presentation shines when your intention is clear and your delivery is genuine. Because when your intention is honest, customers will even overlook small mistakes. But if your intention is fake, even a perfect pitch will flop. Now imagine, if a presentation is that powerful, is just confidence and storytelling enough? Or is there some psychology behind it? There's a secret that actually decides whether a customer will say yes or no. Does that decision happen right then and there, or earlier when they pick up on the emotions behind your words? Because the next chapter digs deep into that. We'll see that people buy with their emotions, not logic. And when the heart's path is clear, the mind just naturally says yes. Chapter 5. Emotion versus logic. Have you ever felt that urge to buy something new, like a new smartphone, a cool car, or a luxury watch? Then you tell yourself, "Hey, I really do need this." But honestly, you don't really need a reason. You just feel like it. Because needs come from the mind, but desires light up the heart. That's exactly where the real battle between emotion and logic begins. In the world of sales, there's a famous saying, people don't buy with logic, they use logic to justify their buying decisions.
meaning the decision comes from the heart and the mind looks for reasons afterward. If a salesperson understands this, they've basically cracked the map to a person's mind. Think about it. Two customers walk into a car showroom. The first one says, "I want a fuel-efficient car that gives good mileage." The second one says, I want a car that makes people say wow when they see it." Two people might have different goals, but their way of convincing is the same. You tap into emotions first, then enter through logic. A good salesman never starts with straight logic. They connect with emotions first, because when the heartstrings are touched, the mind's gates open. People want to hear, feel, and start believing. Then, when you give them logic, it actually makes sense, because their heart already gave the green light. That's why the biggest ads in the world are built on emotions. Remember that tea commercial that said it's about every relationship? Sometimes you just need a little warmth. No one adds a feature list with mileage, power, or design details to those bikes like the Cha-Cha-Ta Live Your Legend, because they know people buy with their hearts, not with numbers. The core of selling is how you make the customer feel. What they hear is less important than what they feel inside. If you make them feel the story, they'll buy the product. If you make them feel safe, they'll say yes. If you make them feel special, they'll never forget you. Sometimes all it takes is a smile, a trusting look, a genuine "I get you" need beats 100 arguments, because emotions open the door where logic begins its journey. And this is where many salespeople mess up. They think that more data, more comparisons, more facts will convince the customer. But in reality, the heavier the load of logic you pile on, the more defensive the customer becomes. That's because the mind asks questions, but the heart connects. And once connected, it finds its own answers. Another side of emotions is timing. Knowing when to say what is the biggest weapon. If you touch the right emotion at the right moment, the customer just can't stop themselves.
It's like telling a hard-working entrepreneur, "You've got that story that'll inspire people." Or telling a dad, "This watch doesn't just show time, it reminds you of your struggles." It's not about words, it's about feelings, and feelings are priceless. In the battle between emotion and logic, the heart always wins. Because in the end, we're emotional beings, and logic can only do so much to satisfy those emotions. So if you want to sell something, first understand people, then understand their minds. Spark their emotions first, then give them the reasons. And remember, until the heart says yes, the mind won't follow. They'll never say yes outright, but the real question is, if emotions are so powerful, is there a way to read a customer's emotions? Is there some secret that tells you when their mind is leaning towards yes and when it's a no? Maybe their face, eyes, or voice hides signals that give away their next reaction? Because the next chapter will reveal that mystery, the art of reading signals, where we'll learn that those who can read others' emotions don't just sell stuff, they sell decisions. Chapter 6, the art of closing the deal. Ever wondered what kind of customer why do people agree but then back out at the last minute, or suddenly say yes without thinking it through? In reality, closing a deal isn't about being super convincing. It's about knowing the right moment to act. There's an old sales tip that if you really understand the customer, you don't even have to sell. They'll buy on their own. But there's a subtle way to handle that yes moment called closing psychology. The most important thing before closing is patience. A lot of salespeople make a deal by talking too much, but then ruin it by rushing. They keep asking, "Sir, what will you take? Please decide." And that just pushes the customer away. Here's why. Nobody should feel like they're being sold to. They should feel like they're making the decision themselves. A smart salesman makes the customer feel like the choice is theirs. He doesn't ask outright, but drops hints. He doesn't pressure, but builds trust. And that trust turns into a yes. Let me tell you an old story. A shopkeeper was selling clothes in his store. A woman came in, looked at a lot of clothes, but didn't buy anything. As she was leaving, the shopkeeper smiled and said, "Madam, you've looked at some really nice clothes. And honestly, she would have looked even better. But if you don't want to buy today, that's totally fine. I'm happy either way. Because to me, you're not just a customer. You're someone I have a relationship with." The woman paused, then turned back and said, "Pack it up, please." Because she felt that this guy wasn't just selling clothes. He was selling respect. That's the deal closing, an emotional moment. It's that moment when the customer's mind and heart are both exhausted, searching for satisfaction. If at that moment you respond with honesty and confidence, then yeah, it's not just a sale. It becomes a lasting satisfaction. This is where the real secret of deal closing comes in. Never think of the deal as the end. It's just the beginning. Think about it. When you sell something to someone, it's not just about the product. It's an experience, a connection, a memory. And when a customer remembers you, they'll definitely come back. There are 3 key things in the art of closing a deal. First, timing, knowing when to say what. Second, tone, how to say it. Third, trust, the feeling you need to convey. When these 3 come together, closing feels like a natural conversation, almost like a smooth transaction. Many people think closing is only important in business, but honestly, closing is needed in every part of life, whether it's relationships, jobs, or chasing your dreams. It's everywhere. There comes a point when you have to decide it's time to take the next step, and the one who grabs that moment never falls behind in life. So if you really want to learn how to sell, start by selling yourself, your thoughts, your confidence, your dreams. Because once you believe in yourself, the world starts buying in too. Remember, selling isn't just a way to make money, it's a way to change people's lives. Every customer brings a new story, and when you stop being just a salesperson and become a solution for them, success is guaranteed. And if today, from this chapter, if you don't get a single sale, just remember this. It's not about selling skills, it's about service. It's those 8 steps where you solve problems, meet needs, and build trust. So next time you're trying to sell, think of the customer as a partner. You'll see every deal turn into a relationship. One last tip, don't just listen to these lines, live by them. Start your morning with confidence. Be honest in every conversation. Understand how people feel. And whatever you do, do it wholeheartedly. Because real success doesn't come from words, it comes from actions. And that's when the sales will happen. You don't have to do anything. People will come on their own to buy. Now just imagine, what if you apply this mindset to your life and dreams stuck in relationships? Won't every failure or setback turn into a new opportunity? Did you like this whole journey? If yes, hit the like button. Comment and tell me which part taught you the most. And start by subscribing to the channel for more. Because in the next video, I'll talk about a book that will change the way you think. Remember, the biggest deal in the world isn't what you do with others, but what you do with yourself. That self-trust, that inner strength. Trust is what gives every outsider strength. So let's close this deal. Promise yourself that from today onwards, you'll listen a bit more, feel a bit more, and value things a bit more in every encounter. Because that's the formula that brings focus, success, and makes life truly meaningful. Thanks, friends. See you next time. Until then, stay focused and keep that smile on your face. If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, and share. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and stay connected for more valuable content.